Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com, and this is episode 7 of Photo Critiques. And in Photo Critiques, what it is people send me in some of their photography, and I critique each photo with suggestions on how they can make it better. And hopefully, we all become better photographers when I offer these suggestions. And we're going to start right off the bat. Today I'm going to be critiquing the work of Kristen Smart. She's a very talented photographer. She sent me 6 images, and we're going to jump right in. This is the first one she sent me. It's kind of obviously it's an abstract shot. The sky is gorgeous behind these trees. I really like that. There's not a lot to say about abstract work because it's really in the eye of the artist. And this was her vision. And I like the color, and either it's abstract. You're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. And I like this one. The actual focusing on the tree is a little soft. It's a little blurry, but she probably used a slow shutter speed. Let's see. I hit I on my keyboard, and on the left we get the information. Yeah, she 1/20th of a second. She probably handheld this, and it's a tiny bit blurry, but that's okay because it's abstract. But if she had a tripod and wanted to, try to get this really crisp and clear, I'm not sure it would have been any better. But it's a nice shot and I like it. This shot here is, I love it. The fall foliage, the colors. It's a little muted. It probably was an overcast day. Just looking at the little piece of sky you could see up there. You could make those colors pop a lot more in Lightroom, or you could use some plugins. Nick Color Effects Pro I use you could bring out the colors and make them pop a little more. It's a little flat, like it's not a lot of contrast. You can bring up contrast a little, would make it pop. The other thing is, I'm going to mention a few times in Kristen's shots, it's called working the scene. Rarely do I come upon a photograph or a scene and I said, well, I'm going to put my tripod right here, I'm going to take this shot, it's going to be gorgeous. Rarely is that first shot my best shot. It's usually the 50th or 60th shot because I'm working the scene, I'm working different angles. And in this shot here, this sky up here is just kind of bothering me. It's not adding anything. I mean, we could crop it down, but I don't think that would be effective. What I don't know, maybe she was up on like an observation area and she couldn't get down any lower, but if she could have got down lower and shot up at this little waterfall stream and the foliage on either side of it, I think it would have been a stronger shot. Also, I know in a lot of the critiques in my articles I mentioned ND filters a lot. That's neutral density filters. If she used a neutral density filter and got a real long shutter speed, she's at 1/50th of a second, but I'm talking about 20 or 30 seconds. If it wasn't windy, these trees would still be crisp and well focused. But this little trickle of water would look a lot stronger. It would be a lot more water flow look to it, and it would be silky smooth. And that would probably have enhanced the shot a lot. If it was windy and she can't do that long of a shutter speed, I mean, neutral density filters is sold in sets. So she could have used a little weaker one and maybe did a 5-second exposure or even a second exposure, and it would have added, I think, to the stream. So that's my suggestions, is work the scene, try to get lower in this case, I think, in shooting up towards the stream, up at the waterfall stream, whatever you want to call it. And in post-processing, do something to make those colors pop more in the foliage, and use a neutral density filter to get the flow of water to be more silky smooth, and it would look like there's more flow there than it was actually there. This scene too, I like this shot a lot. I love the processing. I think she did a beautiful job in the processing of black and white. I love this. I don't know if it's an old house or barn or whatever it is. It's really, really cool. Again, I would have liked her to work the scene. This telephone pole and these power lines kind of spoil it a little, and these bushes are in front of it. And I would have liked to have seen more of it without all that clutter. So I don't know if she could have went around the other side. I don't know if it's private property. Maybe she couldn't go around the back. Maybe got even closer with a super wide angle lens, like right here, and seen if she could have got it. Maybe she doesn't have that type of equipment either. But as far as her technique in post-processing, she's spot on. This is a perfect shot in that regard. I just think if she worked and took 100 shots, she could have got a better shot, better angle at it. It's, obviously I'm not there. I don't know what she was dealing with. But also this chunk of road over here, got to get rid of that. It doesn't add anything to the scene. I'm all about making every pixel count. And this pixels over here don't count. So try to get closer, move around the back, the side, whatever you got to do to work that scene. Here actually, I guess, I don't know, it doesn't look like the same building because this had this. But she, has the broad side of this barn now. I love the colors. This, again, beautiful colors. It's a little muted. Again, I'd go back to trying to get the colors to pop a little more. I'll eliminate, I keep doing that, I'm sorry. Eliminate this road if possible, and minimize the sky since the sky's kind of drab. So, again, I wasn't there, I don't know, but move around, work the scene, try different focal lengths, try different things, and see if you could get a better shot of the this old building, and eliminate the road and minimize the sky. And I think it would have been a stronger shot. This is a pretty cool shot. The dog, looks really serious, looking at something. There's only a couple things. Typically, when you take a portrait of animals, specifically animals, you really don't want to cut anything out. So part of his ear is cut out. You do, I mean, if you're just taking a kind of a shot maybe of his snout and his eyes, it's okay then to cut out because that's what you're going. But this is kind of like a portrait, so you don't really want to cut anything out. So try to avoid cutting out part of his ear. Some people might have only got it to, like, cutting out part of the top of his head. You don't want to ever do that. The other thing, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see it's like super perfectly focused on his nose, but his eyes are soft. Now it could be a her, so forgive me if I'm got a gender issue here. So this dog's eyes are not as well focused as his snout. Now look, they're at a f1.8, so it's a wide open aperture, so you got very limited depth of field. That's okay though, but whenever you take a photograph of anything with eyeballs, be it a human, a dog, a cat, any type of a bird, you want the eyes to be the focal point. The eyes have to be in perfect focus. It's okay for the nose to be soft if the eyes are in perfect focus. So those two things. Try not to cut off any part of the animal unless you're going for like a real tight shot of the eyes or something like that, or just a shot of the nose or something. And make sure you always focus on the eyes. This shot is a nice shot, and this is, I could just tell by looking at the scene, this was hard to take because of the lighting, but she did an excellent job, because it's real soft light, and it looks like the light was coming from over here a little bit behind them, so it's going to drop some shadows on the folks. And there's not a lot you can do about it unless you had an assistant and they could hold a reflector maybe over here to reflect the light back in so these shadows are gone. One posing tip I could give you is, see how this gentleman has his chin jutted out, and you could see that it minimized the shadow under here. The young lady has her chin in, like pulled in towards her. She's looking down slightly, so there's more shadow here. Whenever you are posing people, try to get them to put their chin out like he is. So if you had the opportunity to redo this picture, ask the young lady to push her chin out a little bit, and it would have brightened up all this area down here. The other thing is, which is typical in shots like this where the light is a little bit up and behind, is the eyes fall into darkness. And there's not a lot you could do about that unless you had a fill flash or a reflector. What you could do is in Lightroom in post-processing you could just brighten up the eyes a little bit with the brush. So you go to the brush and you just brighten up the eyes a little bit. If hopefully you shot it as a raw file, and then you have all that information there, so you're not making it look like they're reverse raccoons, with white eyes. You're gonna make them just look like their eyes sockets are a little brighter. And that's all I could offer on this. Otherwise, it was a really tough shot. Actually, I mean, most people might look at that and say, what's so hard about that? But really, it is a hard shot to pull off. And she did it with help of him pushing out his chin. If the young lady would have pushed her chin out a little bit too, like I mentioned, this would have, all that shade, that shadow would have been gone. So that's it. That's our shots from Kristen. I want to thank her. She's, as you can see, a very talented photographer. She definitely has an eye for a scene. All I could say, the main thing I could suggest is that she work the scene a little more, and she's definitely doing some really nice work. So I'd like to thank her for sending me in her photos to critique. I hope everyone enjoyed them and everyone got some tips on your own photography and how you can make it better. If you guys want me to critique your work, just go over to my website. Near the top you'll see a header or label critiques. Click on that. You'd have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and at the bottom there's a post down there of instructions on how to send them to me. I get a lot in and I'm behind, and but I'll do them as soon as I can, but it might run a couple weeks. I'd like to thank everyone for subscribing to my channel on YouTube. I really appreciate that, and if you didn't and you could, I'd really appreciate it. And share the videos and like the videos, and I just appreciate everyone's support. It's been overwhelming, all the nice emails I get and stuff. I really appreciate it. So until our next critique, I hope everyone takes some great pictures. Thanks.